You're all very welcome. Yes, my name is Jacinta. This is Build Beyond You, and this channel is dedicated to those who are in the process of rediscovering your identities, nurturing your innate abilities, overcoming obstacles that have hindered you from flourishing in your true identity and then stepping into your true leadership authority. And we've been having the different lessons in this series of the journey series from encounters to purpose. Okay, so as we wait for others to join, if you have any questions in regards to the encounters that you've had and what you have been learning all throughout, you can start sharing the questions. I will wait for the questions and I'll answer. So today is a Q&A. I just want us to go through. Remember, I told you it's a transformation process. And the transformation process requires us to go back and reflect on what we have been learning, applying, and reflecting on a daily, from the encounters, what they uncover, what you reconcile, what you choose to do. Do you choose to align or heal? Then when you choose to move forward differently, that is integration. And then how do you sustain this alignment, which is through relationships? How are you doing so far? And any questions? That's what I want us to go through today. So you can ask your questions, or whatever you choose to do. Whatever you choose to do would be great if you have anything to share. Okay, I will wait. Okay. Okay, Juliet, how are you? Juliet, you're saying rejection stage. What do you mean by rejection stage? This today? Did you type this today? Hi, Kezi. How are you? Good to see you. Good to see you. Sorry, I have not opened the chat. I'm so sorry. Hi, Mia. How are you? Are you guys okay? Sim, how are you? Good to see you. I can see you the first day in class. Good to see you. Hajara, how are you? Good to see you. How are you guys? Good to see you. I had actually not seen that you guys were already here. Okay, so let's start. Let's start. Ask your questions. I need questions now. Today we're going to be going through questions. And I've asked a question. Uh-huh. Which topic? The rejection. Which topic? Did we have a topic called rejection stage? Yeah? Which topic is that? Ask any questions. Now I'm here to answer questions, and I want us to answer questions. Today, let's go through. Today we're going to be discussing what you've tried to put in application. For example, as you've seen, I've given you a question. What stage challenged you the most? Encounters, exposure, reconciliation. Which stage challenged you the most? Today I'm asking questions, guys. I'm not going to teach. I want us to discuss. I want us to apply what we've been talking about every single day. I want us to discuss. Okay? So I'm waiting. Mm-hmm. I'm waiting for you guys. I'm waiting. Mm-hmm. Okay, ask. Juliet, ask. Kezi, ask. I'm waiting. Ask any question, and that's what we're going to discuss from what we've been studying, what we've been looking at. Ask the questions. Is it in encounters? Is it in exposure? Or it could be even purpose or responsibility or in the discernment lesson. Ask. I want us to reflect, yeah, on the transformation journey that we have been walking through together. What exactly? How? Sustaining alignment is challenging you. Okay, good. Be very specific. What in sustaining alignment is challenging you, Kezi? Sustaining in sustainability, we talked about how you maintain alignment through relationships, right? And that is the connections. What exactly in the connections is challenging you? And that should be the right question. What exactly is challenging you when it comes to sustaining relationships? Hmm? Can you share? If you're a bit specific, then I'll be able to see exactly where the challenge is. If you don't mind, please share that. Mm-hmm. Kezi, I'm waiting for you. Okay, you think you're not really understanding people, and right now you have disconnected with almost everyone. Now, Kezi, that's a stage that you go through when you are when you're going through a consecration or a pruning. I should call it a pruning period, whereby there's something that is happening to you. There are things that are falling off you. Sometimes the old relationships are also going to be cut off. When you say you have now disconnected with almost everybody, there's a separation that's going on right now in your life. That separation is when your identity is being formed into somebody who is new. Definitely, the old relationships are not going to be able to fit in the new you, in the you that you're becoming. So they're just going to fall off even without you doing anything because you are aligning. So don't feel like you really don't understand people, and right now you have disconnected with almost everybody. It's not that you don't understand people, it's that something is happening to you in terms of you becoming a totally different person. And every time your identity is being renewed, you are your mindset has changed, the way you do things has completely changed. You are realigning your values, your vision, your goals. Even your disciplines have changed. Definitely, the people that you were with before are not going to understand what is happening to you. So they're going to kind of like not feel comfortable around you, and they're going to disconnect from you. That's exactly what happened. I'm trying to look for the class here. Where did I put it? And I highlight that particular area where I talked about sustainability. There's a point I'm trying to look for in the sustainability class. Come on, I don't see it. Okay, let me just get it from here. Yeah, so Kezi, what is happening to you is the change. And when that happens, you aligning, you becoming someone totally different, you're definitely going to disconnect from most of the people that you knew. I don't know whether that helps you now to understand what sustainability was about. Actually, I found it. So when I say sustainability, yeah, you see, yes, we say leadership. In leadership, you cannot survive in isolation. And when it comes to relational dysfunction, yeah, there are so many times probably you have been functioning in dysfunction when it comes to relationships because of misalignment in your identity. Now, when you are on the journey of transforming, of becoming a totally different person, even the relationships that were not aligned with or were in your misalignment phase, when you start switching this person in you, they just have to fall off. They have to fall off. They just have to collapse. Probably they were either unhealthy because of your misalignment, or they could have been transactional instead of being healthy. Yeah. Or they could have been exploitative because of your maybe insecurities or trauma bonds that you are experiencing. So naturally, they're just going to fall off. And then the new relationships are going to come one, but slowly, slowly. Because remember, you're also going through a transformation. It's not going to be like this, exactly the same, the way it was before. Okay? So I hope I answered that question well, Kezi. Oh, thank you for posting. Now I've finished, Kezi. Let's go to Hajara. You're saying reconciliation, whenever you try to do it again, the person upsets you. Okay. Now, when I talked about reconciliation, I did not say reconciling with the person that you were with before. When you're going through the transformation process, who you have encountered, or the places that you have encountered, or the situations that you have encountered, and what they have uncovered in you, whether it is, I'm trying to clarify what I mean by reconciliation in the process of this transformation journey. What it has uncovered, those are either weaknesses or abilities in you, or areas that require you to pay attention to and improve, or things that will require you to enhance maybe your strengths. Maybe you need to now pay attention to some of the things you've not been paying attention to that could actually be solutions to different problems here that you need to maybe build systems and structures like we do here. So what happens is reconciliation is about what do you choose to do with who you have encountered or what you have encountered and what that encounter has uncovered. What you have uncovered, whether weaknesses or strengths or whatever you have uncovered in this encounter, what is it calling for? Is it calling for alignment or healing? That is reconciliation. And then if it's healing, we've been going through different sessions where we've been talking about healing. If it's alignment, still the same thing. Then you look at what exactly needs to be aligned. Now, it's not about reconciliation in terms of getting back to the old people. No. Because now that the reason as to why, whenever you try to do it again, a person upsets you. That is a totally different reconciliation that you're talking about, Hajara. And that's not what we are referring to here. If you're in the class that day, you are reconciling what you have uncovered from the encounter that you've had and what you choose to do, either to align or heal. That's the reconciliation. That's all. Yeah, that's what it was about. I hope that makes it a bit clear. And Juliet, you told us to empty yourselves when it comes to reconciling, but it's really difficult for you. What exactly is difficult for you, Juliet, in terms of emptying yourself? Kindly elaborate on that. Good afternoon, Grace. How are you? Kezi, you're feeling as if you're a bad person. No, no, no. In the process, you'll definitely feel like you're a bad person, because what is happening to you is that this transformation that is going on. So definitely, when you withhold, when you withdraw, when you start carrying out some disciplines, you will look like a bad person. But whatever is happening, that's what happens when it comes to growth. Growth makes you look like you are isolating yourself, makes you look like, but when you are actually trying to look for the environments or the people, because you cannot grow in isolation. You're trying to look for the relationships that are required in this growth journey of yours. That's why it may look like as if you are bad, because you are kind of cutting yourself off, but you are not bad at all. So thank you for sharing that. Yeah. Okay. Then Juliet, you're saying, how can I manage becoming so upset? How can I manage becoming so upset all the time? Okay, now Juliet, that one requires you to actually practice. You have to, every time you feel like you're getting upset about something that is taking offense, if you can put it in your mind that every time I get upset, I am opening a door. If you can put it in your mind that every time I get upset, I'm opening a door, you will learn how to pause, you learn how to breathe, and you'll only respond when you need to respond. It takes time, but you can practice it before you know it. And try to get something that distracts you away from what angers you. Every time that environment changes, your atmosphere that wants to kind of bring anger, bitterness, or you to take offense, you need to deal with that. You need to now be very practical and say, I'm going to intentionally cut off anger, intentionally take take away offense from my life. I'm going to practice pausing and breathing before I respond, and then I respond when I need to respond. And if even if and then also you may be taking offense and keeping quiet, but when you're taking offense, I don't know if you pray, but I think you're going to learn how to pray and ask God to help you. Ask God to help you to take that anger away from you. Ask Him to tell you what exactly you need to do. Some of these things are very spiritual. You cannot just do away with them just like that. It could be that anger is coming from a root cause of either bitterness or something that you need to actually now practically deal with spiritually, that requires you to pay attention to. Okay, so those are the things that you need to do with that anger bit. But I think Mia here has managed to deal with the anger. Maybe Mia can share with us how she has dealt with the anger bit. She can share with us. See me to reach out to others, but me no one. Sima, you don't seem to understand that statement that you've made. Oh, Kezi, I'm glad that you've understood. Okay, so Hajari, sometimes we want to forgive and reconcile with no grudges because they are humans that need both of us. Okay, you can forgive and you can also forgive yourself, forgive the other person, no problem. And then just learn how to have boundaries, okay, with the people so that you don't allow a repetition of some of these things that have happened in your life. Just learn where to draw the line, okay? When you learn where to draw the line, they don't have to be, you don't have to have these confrontations again when you start having boundaries, okay? Okay, so I guess that's it. Anybody else? Anybody else? Mia, are you here? Mia, are you here? Anybody wants to share anything else? Anybody wants to share anything else? Anybody wants to share anything else? Okay, now maybe let's go to the let me ask you another question. Okay, I'm putting down more questions here. Um, Basing on what we have been discussing, yeah, I had actually wanted you to tell me, which lessons impacted you most deeply? Which lessons impacted you most deeply? And what I mean, in terms of you have seen an impact in your life now, which one are those lessons that have impacted you deeply? Which lessons have impacted you deeply? I need to hear from all of you. Share. Which are those lessons that have impacted you deeply? That's it. where you've had an impact, where you have actually even implemented something, you've taken action from the reflection sessions that we've been having. Which are those questions that, I mean, those sessions that have impacted you deeply? Discipline of correction. Kezi, can you share with us when it comes to discipline of correction? How have you applied this? How have you applied this in your daily life? How have you applied it? How have you applied it in your daily life? How has it helped you? Mhm. How has it helped you? How has it helped you? Anybody else? Grace, you want to share? How has it impacted you? Which lesson in particular has impacted you greatly, and what have you? For example, when it comes to reconciliation, has chosen alignment, or what encounter did you have that led you to make a decision to heal or make a decision to align? Which one in particular did that for you? Response. Okay, response. What about the response? What exactly happened in the response? What did you do in the response? In the response, we had, where was response? So we had encounters, we had exposure, we had reconciliation, we had integration, we had sustainability, revelation, then the discernment, responsibility, and then purpose. So which one are you talking about, Grace? I want us to talk about the 11 lessons that we've had. Oh, I think I missed out one of these in my accepting truth even when it's bitter. Okay, that's good. That's a very big milestone. Thank you very much for sharing that. Hajara is saying revelation, confronting your true self. That's good. Yes, that's what I've realized. You've actually really confronted your true self, Hajara, because you've been giving us different examples of what has been happening on a daily. Thank you very much for that. That one we can also attest. Who else? Kezi? Anything else? Juliet, what lesson impacted you? What have you implemented in the lessons? Did Mia go off? Gracia saying how to respond when truth is said. Prior to that, you would feel sad. Oh, how to respond? Okay. Okay. You would feel sad. Okay. Okay. I think that is now healing that's going on with you. I can see that. I can see that. At least now you've had some healing. Now you can respond well instead of reacting, instead of withdrawing. Okay, so Juliet, you're saying sustainability. What exactly in sustainability how have you managed to to sustain alignment with your relationships? Because sustainability was talking about relationships. How have you managed to do that? How have you managed to do that? Oh, how to address conflicts. Oh, that's nice. That's nice. That is nice. That is nice. That is great. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing that. Anybody else? Anybody else wants to share before I post another question? Okay, so let me ask another question. What has changed most in your life during this series? Is it your mindset? Is it your self-awareness, emotional responses? Is it your relationships? What exactly in your life has changed most from these sessions that we've been having? Mm-hmm. That's the question. What has changed most in your life during this series? Is it your mindset, your relationships, your emotional responses, or your self awareness? What has changed most in your life during this series? Mm-hmm. I'm waiting. What has changed most? Your emotional responses. That's good. That's good. You now respond. You don't react, right? Okay. Who else? What has changed? Who else wants to share what has changed? Is it your okay? Okay, that's good. That's good. Anybody else wants to share? Uh-huh. Many things are changing, but also being open-minded to learn and unlearn. Yes, that's good. That is good. That is good. That is good. Thank you for sharing that. Anybody else? Juliet, what has changed so far? Okay, you've learned to look at yourself before you look at others. Grace, that is very good, and that's the reason as to why we say we build inwardly first before we go out there to build, right? Okay, because when you are aligned, when you build yourself inwardly, then it's easier for you to go out there and actually build. Juliet, self control. Thank you. That's great. That's great. That's nice. Hajara, you no longer decide from other people's opinions. Yes, now that is very, very good. When you no longer decide from other people's opinions, that's actually even the best. That's the best. That's the best. Mhm. Sim, you've learned how to say no. That's great. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, that's good. Guys, I thank you for interacting, for participating. That's nice. Should I ask that another question? That's good. Thank you. That's nice. Okay, then what do you want to discuss? Okay, do you, is there anything in leadership or in healing or in your calling? Have you do you think you know your calling or you haven't yet gotten to that point? According to the lessons that we've been having, the 11 classes of transformation, has it given you a clue of your calling? Mm-hmm. Has the process so far given you a clue of your calling? I think you are a counselor, but the how to, okay, you think. Have you been drawing the roadmap, by the way? Because that's what is going to give you a very clear understanding. Because now we're going to go down to the niche. Okay. Mm-hmm. Anybody else? Mm-hmm. Teacher, how to heal from a heartbreak. Juliet, I don't seem to understand your question well. I don't seem to understand your questions well. I mean, what you're saying. Mm-hmm. Let's see how to go through that process of heartbreak. You want to, you want, what exact? I don't seem to understand very well. You, what heartbreak are you talking about? I want you to be very specific. What heartbreak are you talking about? Is it a relationship? Is it a marriage? Is it a work-related heartbreak? Um, because you're saying not yet. In fact, yesterday's lesson led you to read a book of In Pursuit of Purpose by Miles Monroe. Yes, you're still confused about purpose. It's okay. It's okay, Kezi. You're not confused. What is happening to you is that you are in the process of understanding. We have not yet found. I just wanted to ask if at least it's giving you a direction to kind of like start, because you've been coming every single day. There must be something that you are picking from the daily classes that is kind of like in your roadmap that you're creating, giving you clues of the people that you're drawn to, what exactly the alignment that you've been carrying out. That's what I'm saying. Okay. Uh-huh. Juliet, I think I don't seem to understand your heartbreak. Okay. You are now giving advice to people to have self-love because it all starts with you. That's nice. That's so nice. That's so nice, Hajar. That's nice. That's nice. That's nice. That's really nice. Uh-huh. Okay, that's nice. Anybody else? Anybody else? Anybody else? Anybody else? Uh-huh. Knowing how to take a right direction when it becomes a relationship, work, disappointment, heartbreak. Knowing how to take a right direction. When it becomes a relationship, work, disappointment. Oh, the right direction. Okay. So now, Juliet, what happens is when you have a heartbreak, first of all, you need to give yourself some time. Give yourself some time to heal. And I won't say forgive the person immediately. If you can, well and good. But if you can start by forgiving yourself, when you forgive yourself and you also get into that mindset of, let me forgive the person, you'll start healing slowly by slowly. But give yourself some time. Distract yourself with something else that will kind of like not allow you to go to dwell so much on what exactly happened. But then also, if it requires you to check what exactly went wrong, could I be the cause of this? And if I am the cause of this, what exactly do I need to work on within myself? Okay. You ask yourself those questions. It's very important that you do. Ask yourself, what do I need to work on within me? Within me, what do I need to work on? I think that's what you need right now. You need to ask yourself those questions. And then if it's not entirely your fault, like you're not the reason as to why the heartbreak happened, then you can say, okay, fine. Choose to forgive, choose to let it go and release it. And Juliet, you learn how to pray. Some of these things that you don't have control over, you release them through prayer. Some of these things that you have control over, you sit down and work out a very practical, step by step process of saying, okay, what did I contribute to this? Where exactly did I contribute to the process of what is happening right now? And when you do that, then you start healing slowly by slowly from that heartbreak, whether it is work, whether it is a relationship, whether it is it's a disappointment or a heartbreak. Slowly by slowly, you realize your healing is coming slowly. And then you also be in a community with people. Don't isolate yourself. You see, also isolation leads to a lot. But when you try to be in a community of like-minded people or healthy mindsets, so that you can slowly heal. Yeah, I hope that has helped you. Anybody else? Okay, so I ask another question. I know today's session is a bit different, but I really want us to go through the journey series, the encounters that we've been having, Okay. So what is that daily encounter that what daily encounter has been exposing the most about you recently? There must be a daily encounter, whether it's conflicts with people or delayed progress. You're welcome, dear. I hope it helped. What is that daily encounter that has been exposing the most about you recently? Any daily encounter that has been exposing the most about you. Let me give you like a couple of daily encounters that could help you understand which particular area. Okay. Could it be like conflict with people? What exactly has it exposed? Yeah. And then maybe delayed progress. If you've experienced any delayed progress. I'm going to send you something. Examples of daily encounters that you probably had. Okay. Okay. Being annoyed when you're tired and angry at people for doing nothing. Okay. Wow. That really it has exposed the most about you. That you have, the way you wrote it is what is funny, Grace. Being annoyed when you're tired and angry at people for doing nothing. For doing nothing. Really. So what that is revealing, Grace, is deep, deep heart, deep pain that wants you to pay attention to and lose it. That's why you find yourself snapping at people, even when they've done nothing. That means you have pain that you need to deal with. That's what happens with that. It's just the way you wrote it, for doing nothing, was funny. Yeah. Okay. Anybody else? Grace, at least we already um, we're organized to start our sessions. So yeah. Anybody who wants personal mentorship sessions, we're going to start personal mentorship sessions. If you want to join us, you can join us in our another arrangement that is not a class like this. Okay. Um, mhm. Conflicts with people. No, no, no. What did you? Financial pressure. Okay. What exactly is with the financial pressure, Casey? What has it exposed about you recently? Financial pressure. What has it exposed about you? What has financial pressure exposed about you recently? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Juliet, you're trying to make other people happy when you're not happy on your side, but just because you don't want to annoy anyone. Okay, you're still people pleasing. You're still people pleasing, and you're going to try and apply the reflection questions that I have been asking you on a daily. the actions actually that I've been giving you to carry out. When it comes to people pleasing, you need to snap out of it because it's going to ruin you. You actually need to put a stop to it. When you feel like people pleasing, yeah, like trying to make other people happy when you're not happy, first try to withdraw yourself a bit, because every time you do that, you'll feel much more emptier. You need to first put a stop to it. You need to first put a stop to it and look for the root cause where the people pleasing is coming from. Where is the people pleasing coming from? And that is the root cause that you need to confront and say, where is people pleasing coming from? That is exactly what you need to do. Find out the root cause of people pleasing. When you find out the root cause of people pleasing, it's going to be easier for you to now deal with it. Is it a trauma based root cause of why you find yourself people pleasing? Because usually, most of the times, when you find yourself people pleasing, there's a part of you that is not with you anymore. Every time there's a fragmentation that has gone on with your soul, yeah, like your soul is not whole. You find yourself doing things that you would not ordinarily do. You are not, and it requires you to carry out these practical applications that I have been giving you, the how to steps in every class. I've been giving you how to. When you do the how to's, when you start practicing the how to's, you'll find yourself withdrawing from doing some of these things like people pleasing. And this is something that we've talked about a lot in most of the classes that we've been having since December. So it's entirely up to you to do it yourself. You have to do it yourself. You have to do it yourself. You have to do it yourself. Okay? You have to withdraw yourself from people pleasing. Trying to make other people happy when you're not happy. That is wrong. It's a dysfunction, and you have to heal from it. When you withdraw, you'll see, you'll find yourself now choosing you first, yeah, and then you heal. Then you don't have to people please. Now, what is the opposite of people pleasing? That's what I need you to look out for. You are having conversations intentionally, relationships intentionally. You give intentionally, that okay, I need to give intentionally, not out of maybe, you know how you can overgive when because you want to fit in. It's a dysfunction, it's a misalignment within you. So try to carry out the exercises that I give you, the how to steps. It will help you a lot. Okay, then Kezi, you are feeling as if you are spending more than expected because of emergency requirements. That is like a drain on your finances. That is like a drain on your finances. What are those emergency requirements? You need to find out what they are, and if you did not spend on them, what would happen? Are they like maybe say hospital bills or something like that? Because it could be emergency requirements that, where are they coming from? Because sometimes it's a financial drain on you, it's a drain on your finances, and there's some of these things that we're talking about, they are very spiritual. So I need to know exactly where is that, what exactly you're talking about, what kind of emergencies are you talking about? Juliet, you're saying you're getting back in line. Okay, good. Thank you for getting back in line. Yes, Kezi, you want to share? Or I give you the next question. Grace, you okay? Sim, you're quiet. Okay, then let's go to another question. So, what pattern did you discover within yourself during this series that you had never fully acknowledged before? Is there any pattern? Okay, that's good. Is there any pattern that you had never fully acknowledged before, that you discovered within the series that we've been carrying out from the time we started the encounters. Mhm. I'm waiting. What pattern? You didn't know that you were absent-minded? Juliet. What do you mean by absent-minded? Absent-minded in what? In relationships, in the way you do things, what exactly? I'm giving you time. What pattern did you discover within yourself during the series that you had never fully acknowledged? Casey? Okay, let me give you an example. You love examples. Okay. Fear, maybe anger, maybe control, maybe emotional instability, validation, like from the conversations that we've kept on having, is there anything that kind of like brought out maybe you having anger issues and you didn't realize that you did? Maybe control, maybe emotional instability, and you thought it wasn't there, but then you realize. Maybe validation. Could it have been pride? At least now we've identified people pleasing with, I think, Juliet. You talked about people pleasing, right? One of those, or any. When it comes to remembering the past things, okay, you fear to be rejected, but it's okay to be alone than being with people who drain you. Yeah, then after that you will align with the right people. Sometimes you you see, that rejection most of the times is a redirection. Yeah, every time you experience rejection, the people who are not supposed to be with you at that level now, they have to go off. And then you're going to heal, you're going to look at the reason as to why. Sometimes it's a good rejection, and sometimes it's not a very nice rejection. That some rejections are induced, like forcefully, so that people can get away from you, so that people can abandon you, so that people can isolate you, when someone is probably either benefiting from, the exchanges that happen spiritually when people carry out those exchanges, like of your destiny, of your virtues, or something like that. And when something is done that way to you, sometimes you can experience these rejections because what let me tell you something. When you lose the anointing, the virtues, what attracts people to you, like the value that comes out of you, when you lose some of these things, like your destiny, your star, your virtues, what differentiates you from everybody else, you don't practically lose it. It doesn't get lost, but you're no longer functioning in it. But when you go through the process and you start applying the structures and the systems that we keep talking about, and you pay attention to all areas of your life, you start realizing things that were actually taken away from you. And you now intentionally say, I'm going to take a journey to recover back what rightfully belongs to me. Because every time you're not functioning in who you are meant to be, it's not with you anymore. That's where people are not like, you start feeling rejected. Because most of the times you don't. Most of the times people come to you because of the value that comes out of you. So if that value is not there, you're going to experience such things. So you're going to have to get onto a journey of healing, and that's exactly what we are doing on a daily, but practically. We are replacing the systems and structures that it took to build, like, let's say betrayal came into your life. Yeah. What was betrayal targeting? Betrayal was probably building trauma or reinforcing trauma that was already inexistent. What was this trauma hindering? Okay. When you start looking at things practically like that, and those were the lessons we had in December. What was trauma's intention? What was it targeting? It was targeting your identity. Yeah. And your identity, what specifically? Now, when you start being very practical like that and find out, what did I lose in the process? What is that essence of mine that was infiltrated? Remember when we had a class on essence? What is that virtue of mine that was lost, and what vice was replaced with the virtue? Then you also have to practically carry out a replacement mechanism of everything that is taken away from you. You have to make sure that you go through the process of healing, of aligning, and you'll get the revelations. You'll get the revelation of who you are, your true self in the process, and everything that has kept on going away from you will start coming back. But it has to be very intentional, and these consistent strategies that you apply on a daily, as you're being led, the consistent strategies that you apply on a daily, the disciplines, when you keep on with them consistently on a daily, you will realize that what replaced your beautiful virtue, that is maybe a vice. I mean, like you said, you snap, you get angry very quickly. Probably that wasn't you. Yeah. But when you overcome a vice that practically wasn't yours, yeah, and you have to carry out a replacement. You must make sure you replace that vice with a virtue. Don't leave that space open. The reason as to why we keep in these cycles is because we leave that space open and we don't allow ourselves to go through it. You have to allow yourself to go through the pain, see where did this pattern come from, what exactly was it targeting, what was taken, or what is not functioning well in me that used to function well. Why am I misaligned? Where in my identity am I misaligned? When you start looking at behavior patterns that don't align with who you truly are, because in your heart, as you continue with the transformation journey, you will start realizing, this is not me. This is not me. This is not me. And then you start intentionally pursuing who you truly are, finding out who you are, what exactly has been dormant that needs to be reawakened. Okay? And that could be a virtue that was once active and now it's not active. Yeah? What happened? But you have the authority. You have the authority because it is yours. You have the authority to start the process and say, I'm going to step back into the spaces where I used to be, do the work that I used to do, function the way I used to function. Now, that one takes very, very bold, intentional decisions of, no matter what, I'm going to fight. Then you start fighting. Because if you sit and fold your hands and think somebody else is going to do the work for you, no one is going to do the work for you. You have to do it yourself. If it requires you fighting, spiritually praying and all, you have to. But then you have to be very practical. When you start finding out, why am I functioning the way I'm functioning? If you're functioning in a vice mode, that is what you're going to deal with. You have to take it down. And when you take it down, apply the replacement mechanism. Don't leave the space empty. And when you apply the replacement mechanism, make sure that you guard it, you protect it, you preserve it, and you consistently perform the disciplines that it requires for you to maintain. Because you can easily lose it again. You can easily lose it again. Fear, Sim, thank you. Fear. So with fear, this is, of course, fear is I would categorize it as in the category of intimidation. Fear is an external factor. It's not something that comes from within. It comes from outside. What exactly is causing the fear? Where is it coming from? And that's exactly what you need to find out. Where is the fear coming from? I think this is a class of vices and virtues that we once had. And I see the reason that's why I'm having this Q&A is I want to see the areas where we need to focus on now to deal with some of these things, to have the practical way of dealing with some of these things. And that's what I want us to agree on. If we are going to have some of these classes again, so that we can identify where is fear coming from in your journey and how you're going to deal with fear. Okay, so SIM, this is a class that I think we're going to have, fear. Okay, this is a whole class that we're going to have, so that I can give you practical ways of how you can deal with some of these things. Okay, Juliet, you said you discovered self-control. Yeah, now you have self-control. And bitterness, Kezi, have you overcome this bitterness, or is it something that is you're still struggling with? Grace, you say most of these behavior you have always known you have them, but dismissing them. Okay. Now, another thing that I have noticed in my life is lack of confidence. Even when I have something to say, or rather I know the answer to the question, something tells me I should not speak. Okay. Talk about the discipline of inner order. Okay. So this is what we are going to do, because I wanted to have this session so that we can organize and have some of these as classes. Okay, or you have overcome it fully. That's very beautiful, because that's nice that you've overcome bitterness. That's good. So I'm going to I'm going to have these as some of the next classes, because if these are things that you're still dealing with, we need to have them as a class. Fear, we shall have a class on that one. Inner order. Okay, inner order. Can you be specific with what you mean by inner order? The discipline? You want me to go through that class again, because we've had that class? Maybe you can be specific on what you mean, or which specific area are you referring to when it comes to inner order? Uh-huh. Yes, Grace. Which particular area are we talking about? Because this one, for fear, we're going to have a class on this one. This one, we're going to have a class on fear. This is a thief. This is a real thief, and we're going to talk about serious practical ways of dealing with this one. Because this one will actually hinder you from moving on. When the blessing is coming to you, then fear presents itself, and before you know it, you lose it. This one we're going to deal with practically. Okay? We're going to have a class on it. Grace, do you want to elaborate on this one? By defining who you are called to serve. Okay? Okay. Okay. Okay, so far I have two topics that I have identified that we are going to go through, right? So let me give you another question. Another question, okay? And this one came from the reconciliation, when we talked about what you choose to do with what has been revealed, okay? What difficult truth about yourself have you recently accepted instead of denying? What difficult truth about yourself have you recently accepted instead of denying? Yes, fear is for Sim, not for her, but it's Shizan raised it, and Grace, you raised the discipline of inner order, right? So, what difficult truth about yourself have you recently accepted instead of denying? What difficult truth about yourself have you recently accepted instead of denying? But forgiving is not healing. Yeah, okay. That's true. After you've forgiven, you need to heal. That's nice. That's a very nice one, Grace. Anybody else? Thank you very much for sharing that. Yeah, they are very different. They're totally different. Totally different. Because you can forgive, but when um, you still have wounds and pain on your heart internally, and once you don't once you don't replace what was the impact that the pain had on you, yeah, once you don't find a practical way of replacing the impact that it had on you. Let's say if it was a betrayal, what impact did it have on you? Let's say if it was a heartbreak, what impact did it have on you? Let's say if it was like a downfall, what impact did it have on you? What exactly was wrong? Did you correct? And what exactly did you do to correct? Yeah. Okay. So that's seeking correction. Okay. Okay. That's nice. Thank you, Juliet, for that. Kezi, Sim, anything from you? Anything from you? Any difficult truth about yourself you have recently accepted instead of denying? Mm? So if I'm to ask, what exactly changed after you accepted this truth instead of denying it? For example, um, Grace, you said that forgiving is not healing. What exactly, what changed after accepting that when you accepted? Or Juliet, when you understood that, when you accepted that seeking correction instead of denying it, what changed after accepting it? Because there has to be something. There has to be something that you do about it. You change the way of communicating with others, mostly when you are angry. Oh, thank you very much, Juliet. That's nice. That's nice. That's nice. That's a serious transformation there. Grace, you need to start on healing because you said it can even hinder destiny. Yes, it can hinder destiny very greatly. Very, very greatly. Okay. And the healing part is very practical. The healing part we are going to develop. So with Grace, we are going to already develop strategies of how the healing is going to happen. It has to be very structural. You have to draw a very serious roadmap and a strategy on how you're going to heal one day at a time. And whatever it is that happened is you're going to build a system from it, from that pain, because that pain was for a purpose. It was not for you to just feel it, experience it, then heal, then forgive, then leave it there. No, no. It came to you for a reason. And that's the reason as to why we have this transformation process, because we want to build something out of it. Okay? We want to build something out of it, structures out of it. And that is when we draw our roadmaps. Okay? Anybody else? Anybody else wants to share something there? Okay, so when it comes to the integration part, when we said, how do we move forward differently? What is that one practical change that you have made in your daily life because of this series? What is that one practical change that you have made in your daily life because of this series? Let me give you an example, okay? For example, responding instead of reacting. I think most of you have had this one. or setting up boundaries, or becoming more disciplined, or returning to your prayer or study? Are you being more intentional? Are you healing your relationships? Are you managing emotions differently? What exactly are you doing? Uh-huh. The difficult truth, nobody's coming to save me. I have to work on myself and save myself. Yeah, that's a bitter pill to swallow, but you have to swallow it. You have to. People will not come to save you, but people will connect to you basing on who you have become. So when you put in the work, then you will when you put in the work, then you'll see a big difference. When you become who you're supposed to become, then you will attract who needs to be in your spaces. Okay. After going through these transformation classes, I can stand by myself making the right decisions. That's very beautiful, Juliet. That is really good. That is really good. I'm glad that it does that for you. Uh, Anybody else? Sim, Grace, what is that one practical change that you have made in your daily life because of this series? Are you setting boundaries? Are you becoming more disciplined? What change do you feel fulfilled because you are consistent? Oh, because yeah, that's nice. That's nice. That's nice. At least that makes a very huge difference if you're consistent. And Sim, Grace, anything? Anything else? Anything else? Okay, so when it comes to sustainability, that's alignment through relationships. Which relationships in your life currently bring alignment? And which ones drain or confuse you? This one you have to be very specific, not names, but which relationships. Could it be work relationships? Could it be family relationships? What relationships exactly in your life currently bring alignment? And which ones drain or confuse you? Would it be boyfriend relationships that confuse you? Mm-hmm. Can share that. Alignment, a relationship with God. Okay. Mm-hmm. That's nice. That's nice. Your relationship with God brings alignment. That one is like an automatic thing. Thank you. That's nice. That's so nice. If everybody can actually develop a relationship with God, you definitely are going to have alignment. Same, responding calmly to people. That's nice. That's good. That's good. Juliet, you can now stand tall and give out transformation classes to your fellow maker mates. What is maker mate? That's nice. Okay. Hey, that's nice. If you can stand and give out transformation classes, that is good, Juliet. Okay. Grace, your work relationships are bringing alignment. Oh, that's nice. That's nice. What's draining your relationships with some friends and family members? Okay. Okay. So those ones that are draining you, what exactly do you do about it? What exactly do you do about it? So I'm sure you have the answer, but I want to test if you've been in class every day. For the relationships with some friends and family members that drain you, Casey, what exactly do you do about it? Mm-hmm. Confused with boyfriend and I ended the relationship. Okay. Okay. Workmates. Juliet, you mean the ones that drain your workmates or what? Okay. Maybe let me ask you a very whatever question, like a different question. How do unhealthy relationships affect your leadership and your emotional stability? How do they affect you? Because remember, now you are the one who is building inwardly. How do these unhealthy relationships affect your leadership or your emotional stability? Okay. You text them to see how best you can resolve. Okay. And apologize when you have to. Okay. With family members, I give them time as I reflect and I get back to them. Okay. Okay. I think it's the same as grace. Thank you. That's good. But then now, how do these unhealthy relationships affect your leadership or your emotional stability? How do these unhealthy relationships affect your leadership or your emotional stability? Because you have to be very specific to that. When you are specific, then you can actually look at what exactly do I need to work on. Where do I put the boundary when it comes to my leadership or my emotional stability? So by answering how do these relationships affect, they make you upset when you are at work. You don't settle for work when things are not going well at home. Okay. Now that's very specific. So because they affect your work, yeah, you don't settle for work when things are not going on, when things are not going on well at home. I think that's a general challenge that probably most of the people usually have when things are not going on well at home. They, your work is so totally affected most of the times, and you don't settle. Okay, okay, you don't settle. Okay, but then do you kind of like, what is your go-to? I wouldn't want to call it a consolation, but what is like your go-to, something that you do to get out of that unsettlement? Most of the time you pause and pray. Yeah, that's good. That's not very practical. Because some of these things that you don't have control over, like I always say, you pray. You pray. You pray. You pray. That's the answer actually I was looking for. Now, when it comes to the revelation where you have to see yourself clearly, your true self, what was the hardest thing about confronting your true self? What was the hardest thing about confronting your true self? Knowing that you're not here forever. Okay. Okay. Mm-hmm. Or they affect you financially most when your man doesn't support you. You have to divide your money twice. Okay, yeah, that happens. Sorry about that. Hajara, you cry. Okay. But slowly by slowly, you're going to stop crying and you're going to start being very practical. Okay, you cry a bit, then after crying, you start becoming proactive. What do I need to do about this? And like praying, Hajara, you can pray. Okay. The question is, what was the hardest thing about confronting? Okay, maybe let me give you an example of what I mean by what was the hardest thing. When you confronted your true self in the revelation part, the revelation session, yeah, what was the hardest thing about admitting weaknesses or accepting failure? You know, these are very bitter truths. Like Grace has said, that she has understood very clearly that forgiving does not mean that you have healed. You can forgive, but when you are not healed, so you need, those are two different things. When you separate the two, you can understand that. Now, that is actually her answering this question of when you see yourself truly. The hardest thing about confronting your true self when it comes to admitting weaknesses, when it comes to accepting failure, when it comes to letting go of, maybe you found out that you have ego, or you, someone tells you you're actually very proud. You need to work on that pride. Proud. I'm not proud, but when it's actually there, and when they highlight it very clearly for you, it's confronting that, like the vulnerabilities that you found out about yourself. It's not very easy for you to just confront vulnerabilities, and then also being able to see the survival patterns that have been going on in your life. Sometimes the exposure of these survival patterns that have been going on in your life are painful. So you don't want to face the truth. Most of us don't like correction. When we are corrected, we kind of like either back off, walk away, and we don't want to deal with it. Okay? So that's what I want to know. What is that hardest thing about confronting your true self? Like when you had to face emotional wounds. Mhm. Choosing yourself, each and everything, picking yourself up back and again after falling. Okay, yeah, yeah, that's also that's actually very, it's the hardest part, picking yourself up again after failing, but then or falling, but then after that, when you pick up yourself, you then get to move. It's, yes, that's also painful. And you can be kind but not nice to people. Okay, okay. Yeah, there's a difference between being nice and kind. That is true. Thank you very much, Hajara, for sharing that. Not everyone is going to like you exactly. Now that when you need to know, when you face that hardest truth that not everyone is going to like you, you come to terms with it, and you, some relationships, when you realize that you were actually building transactional relationships, that's where it hurts the most. And I think most of the people are hurt because of transactional relationships. You may have had valuable relationships that you dropped off, and you went for, you didn't realize that what you entered into were transactional relationships. Yeah, that's the hardest part, and then you have to go back again. So when it comes to vulnerabilities, yeah, what vulnerability do you now realize needs stronger boundaries around it? What vulnerability do you now realize needs stronger boundaries around it? Because remember, we said if you do not guard those vulnerabilities, yeah, the ones that we mentioned earlier, yeah, like pride, control, anger. When you find out that you have anger, how do you make sure that it doesn't come up again? What are those steps that you put in to make? Like I said, we're going to have, like, let's say, a lesson on fear. We're going to look at how do I ensure that I preserve myself, because then you have found out where is the fear coming from. Is it generational? Is it, acquired? Is it something like that? So when you find out the root cause of it, then you know exactly how to guard yourself from it. So that's what I'm asking when it comes to vulnerabilities. That is the discernment, understanding vulnerabilities. When we're carrying out discernment, what vulnerability do you now realize needs stronger boundaries? Hmm. Talking. Yeah, because it's okay. It's okay. Don't like beat yourself up because of it. Yeah. If it was a vulnerability and you found out that now you need to guard it, to guard yourself from over talking, yeah, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay to come to the realization of that. Okay. Money, okay, 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 okay. Thank you for that. What exactly about money? Because money is just general. Was it financial mismanagement? Okay, and anger. Okay, now you did find out the root cause of anger, then you guard yourself from it. You can see the patterns when they are coming, and you do not allow them to manifest. Okay, okay. Aha, responsibility. What responsibility have you been avoiding in your personal growth or leadership journey? What responsibility have you been avoiding in your, oh, Hajar is saying oversharing. Okay, thank you. Now that you know the vulnerabilities, and Now you realize then how you need to have boundaries around them. That's a very good one. The next question is, what responsibility have you been avoiding in your personal growth or leadership journey? You remember when we had the responsibility class where we said we need to sustain alignment. We have to be very responsible. So, question is, what would happen if you continue ignoring that responsibility? We had first mentioned that responsibility that you have been avoiding in your personal growth or leadership journey. What is that responsibility that you have been avoiding in your personal growth or leadership journey? Confronting issues and just dismissing. Okay. Confronting issues and just dismissing. Now okay, that's a good one. That's a very good analysis of it. And what would happen if you continue ignoring it? What do you think will happen if you continue ignoring that grace? Because you said just dismissing it. What would happen if you continue ignoring it? It manifests in things like anger. Okay, good. It's nice to be very specific like that. Every time you're specific like that, then you're going to deal with the issue itself. Thinking that someone will rescue me, now working upon saving myself, I now became a visionary woman. Yes, Hajara, that's a very good thing. That's a very, very beautiful thing that you decided there. Okay, so now remember when we talked about response, we're about to close the class, okay? But let me finish up. When we talked about response, remember when we said we can receive the same message, but we respond differently, okay? Why do you think two people can hear the same truth, but produce completely different outcomes? Why do you think two people can hear the same truth, but produce completely different outcomes? Why do you think two people can hear the same truth but produce completely different outcomes? Before I tell you the answer, yeah? Okay, now let me be honest with you. Two people can hear the same truth but produce completely different outcomes. Why? Your posture. I think Hajara, you've said now you are very serious about your no one is going to save you. Now you have understood you need to save yourself and do something about it. Juliet, you have also said you can actually now carry out a transformation class, meaning the transformation lessons are having impact on you, right? So the posture that how you position yourself, for example, when you become accountable, okay, accountable for your actions, your decisions every single day, that posture produces transformation. Okay? When you carry out those daily disciplines, like you've been saying, now you're very consistent. Casey, I think you said you're very consistent. And I think Sim, you said you have the word no now. Yeah? That posture of saying no produces transformation because then you take off or avoid anything that's going to detour you from the right direction. So the posture of accountability, of those daily disciplines, of being consistent, of being teachable. Every day you say, I am going to have identity alignment. The posture of humility is what produces transformation. So that's the reason as to why two people can receive the same message, but produce different outcomes. Okay? So that's very, very important for you to remain in the posture of being teachable, for you to remain in the posture of allowing correction, for you to remain in the posture of being disciplined, for you to remain the posture that you choose to remain in is what produces transformation, is what makes you have a totally different outcome. Because if you're daily disciplining, carrying out the disciplines that you said, you're definitely going to have a totally different outcome. Okay? Because God has created something different and unique in all of us. Okay? Because we have different encounters. Okay? That's also true. You can have different encounters, but you may do something, you may not do anything about it, or you may do something about it. Thank you. So the posture is very important, guys. Don't forget, the more you choose to put in the work, then it works for you. So when it comes to the refinement, what this pressure produces, the fire that we go through, what painful season in your life has revealed strength, wisdom, any season in your life, like what, maybe it may not necessarily be wisdom or strength, but even purpose. What painful, must be painful. Because when you talk about refinement, we're talking about something painful. So what is that painful season that has produced maybe purpose, maybe wisdom, maybe strength? Okay, Juliet, you said pretending. Sim, you said because they are unique in mental. Yeah, that's true. They're unique. So what is that painful season in your life that has later revealed either, if you know your purpose, well and good, or that has revealed strength in you, or that has revealed wisdom in you? Could it be a season of failure? Could it be a season of betrayal? Because sometimes these seasons that we go through, they are refinement seasons. They realign you. They kind of like wake you up that this is the reality. Taking yourself back to school, okay. So taking yourself back to school, Juliet, was painful. Eh? It's okay, take yourself back to school. Okay. Well, it depends on how you see it. Who else has a painful season that revealed strength, wisdom, or resilience, endurance? Maybe you became very resistant to being bullied. A season of lack, okay, that's good, Grace. Season of lack. A season of lack. When you come out of it, I think it teaches you to value what what you've not been valuing, especially your work. You learn how to guard your work. You learn how to guard your environments, your atmosphere. You don't just give access to anybody. That's what a season of luck teaches you. It also teaches you financial management. It teaches you when to give and when to invest and when to save. It's very, very straining, but it's also very refining. It's like you're shifting from one season to another. Okay. The season of rejection made you learn a lot about and listen a lot to podcasts to change your identity. Okay. Okay. Thank you. That it's okay. It's okay, Hajara. It happens. So you see, if it had not happened, you would not have reached that level. You have to overcome. You have to overcome. Do you think you'd still be who you are today without that season? Be honest with yourself. Do you think you'd still be who you are if that season wasn't there? The refinement, when you had to go through the fires, do you think you would have been the same? It's the self-awareness journey. Okay. Okay, thank you, Hajara. You have learned self-love. That's nice. That's nice. That's nice. That's nice. Okay, so our last question, because now we need to close. When it comes to the purpose, you see, it was a whole 11 classes, from encounters to purpose. So when it came to purpose, because purpose is the solution that comes out of you, you may not necessarily have gotten there, but at least I want you to have a view of where this transformation process is taking you. The moment you kind of like go through what we have been going through, the encounters, what they uncover, to purpose as we go on with our journey of creating our roadmaps, okay, to finding out what our purpose is, nurturing those innate abilities, overcoming these obstacles that we've been talking about, so that we can lead without emotional instability. Now, the last thing is purpose before we now start preservation and all. What problem or pain do you now feel you can actually help others solve or overcome, that you have overcome? What problem or pain do you now feel called to help others overcome? Because according to the lessons that we've been doing, somehow, if you've been able to, you've been saying so many things here that you've overcome talking too much. What is that problem or pain do you now feel called to help others overcome? Mhm. You've identified the problems. Just mention the problems. You've been saying them, by the way. You've been saying them. Procrastinating. Okay. Thank you, Casey. Mhm. So you feel that's a pain that you are called to help others overcome. So you can actually even start it. And I pray that you have an encounter where you can start helping some people. And because you see, the moment you identify a problem, it may not necessarily be your purpose, but it kind of like now starts the journey of you getting to know what your purpose is. After you've gone through the journey that you've been going through, the encounters and all, then you start finding out what is that problem, or pain that I now feel I am called to help others overcome. Okay? You think you can help people extend kindness to others. Okay? Okay? That's just the beginning. That's just the beginning. That's just the beginning of the whole process. That's the beginning. That's the beginning. Once you go through what we've been going through, then you start having clues. Where is my purpose? Before you know it, you'll have a full statement of your purpose. Okay? Okay. So guys, I think it was a nice Q&A. I hope it has helped choosing themselves first in whatever aspect of life. Okay. Thank you, Hajara. Empathy. Thank you, Sim. Thank you. That's nice. So at least you have a clue of from where you've been coming from with the encounters till purpose. And tomorrow we'll have another class as we go on. But the one thing I should tell you about um, all these lessons that we're having, yeah, I'll borrow Hajara's statement. No one is going to save you. No one is going to save you. You have to put in the work to become. If you've been, for example, struggling with generational curses or generational patterns, you have to put in the work. No one is going to save you. Those cycles will continue in your life until you choose to say yes, be willing to put in the pattern, the work. I have bad dreams, I have this, I have it. You have to put in the work. Exactly. It ends with you. No one is going to do it for you. If it calls for consecration, you have to go for the consecration, which is separation. That's why you sometimes feel the rejection. Yes, I know. I'm borrowing Hajara's statement. No one is going to save you. You have to. I can come here in this class and guide you and talk, then you can go on. I'm just giving examples of apostle, and but if you do not make a decision to release that which hinders you, that which blocks you, no one is going to save you. So you have to make a choice and say, okay, this is a decision that I need to make. I have to offer myself as a living sacrifice, if that's what it takes, so that I can birth a new season. Because which one? Because which statement? Of no one is coming to Hajara's statement. I can see, I can testify. Yeah, the truth is, it's about you. No one is going to save you. You have to put in the work yourself. You have to go through the journey. You have to go through the journey of building it yourself. Yes, you may read 100 books, listen to podcasts, but it's you to apply what is required. That's it. And you have to create your own pathway. Because each and everybody that you're listening to has created their own pathway. All the books that you're reading, they've created their own pathway, but you can't read all the books. It's not about intellectual all the time. You have to put in the work. You have to put in the work. Life is spiritual. Whatever you see in the physical first happens in the spiritual. So if you don't put in the work, whatever you see manifesting in the physical has first happened in the spiritual. And whatever you do not confront and overcome will become a forever repeated cycle in your life, and then you will also pass it on, and you just go like that, very unhappy in that particular area, whatever it is. Yeah. But God above all, there's nothing. God is a very beautiful God. He will never leave you. He will never forsake you. When they open up the books, they say, let's open up the books. Who are those who have offered themselves as a living sacrifice to me? It's time for me to reward them. Will you be on the list? When the time for rewarding is coming, because remember, seed time and harvest time is real. So when it's time for rewarding, harvest time, will you be on the list? Or you are listening to podcasts and listening to Jacinta and you are not doing the work? That's what Hajar is talking about. You may not see what you're doing at that time when you're putting in the work. It may not be visible to you. But at the end of the day, when the time for remembering Mordecai was, imagine if he had not done what he had done. It probably came when he was not even thinking about it. Then it came. Then people will say that, hey, where did you feel? How did you do this? But you are patient, you put in the work. So sometimes it may be hard, sometimes it may be a painful journey, but I can assure you, when you make a decision to say yes to the process and start going through it, you can inbox me. Okay? Then we can start from there. Otherwise, today's lesson is done. Thank you guys for coming. Thank you for being here till the end. Teaching but not love themselves. Okay. Thank you, Juliet. Okay, guys. I wish you a nice day. Be fruitful, multiply, replenish, subdue, and take dominion. Tomorrow we'll have another class. You're welcome, Casey. Thank you, guys. And have a very beautiful day. Okay? Bye, guys. Thank you for joining. Shalom, shalom.